Good morning. My name is Scott Forcino. I'm an associate broker with Real Brokerage out of New York City and the metro area. I founded PlugIntro so that real estate professionals can meet who they should know, can gain local exposure, and provide the same thing for their contacts. I have with me today Keith and Judy Duble from the Keith and Judy Team at EXP Realty, and of course, Paul Francisco, a co-host from the Francisco team at Provisor Mortgage. We're looking forward to learning a lot of information on how this combination real estate and lending team works, how they serve clients, and what's going on in their markets and what their contacts should know. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Awesome.
So yeah, Paul and I had a conversation yesterday, learning more about his mortgage business and how they operate. He had a great idea to bring on Mr. and Mrs. Duble, local real estate professionals. So Paul, would you help us out and bring this in and get us all the information we need, please?
Yes, of course. So I'm really stoked because Keith and Judy are not only business partners, but dear friends of my wife and I. As you can see, we're a husband-wife team as well. And I think they're incredible people. And I think it's important for those local in their market to hear their story. It's an awesome story, and I think they're doing awesome things. So I just wanted to kind of facilitate by giving a few questions here. First of all, Keith and Judy, if you can, share with us, where do you serve your homeowners? What's your market, and where you're working at?
Yeah, sure. So we are located in Austin, well, north of Austin, but we lived in Austin for a bazillion years, and it's just like a couple towns over. So we still serve the greater Austin area and all the surrounding towns plus more. So Austin, Round Rock, Pflugerville, Buda, Kyle, Cedar Park, Liberty Hill, just to name a few.
Yeah, we go far and wide, and I think that's one of the things that maybe makes us stand out a little bit, in that we have a pretty solid market knowledge of a pretty expansive market area. We've been serving, from Killeen to San Antonio for 13 years.
And Houston.
And we've even done deals as far as
El Paso,
and Kerrville and El Paso. So yeah, there's been, if we had our pick, obviously we'd like our next door neighbor to sell, but as close to that as possible is great. But we don't. It's hard for us to say no to a deal.
Yeah, and see, I think all these expansions of where you've been serving is a testimony to your hard work and your success. I can tell you, as a former Austin resident of 12 years, my wife and I have used you guys on multiple occasions in the Austin area and near the San Antonio area, and now in El Paso. We just can't say enough good things about what you do. I know you won't speak to yourself as much as I want to. Let me just say this: there's not many realtors that will not only help you and get you the best deal and sell your home, but actually show up at your house and help you actually pack. That's a pretty amazing aspect of service. I always say offer more service than you're paid for, and I think Keith and Judy, you exemplify that. And that's one of the things that I love about you, and why I want others to hear about you. So let me ask the elephant. Let me ask the elephant in the room, though, because I get this all the time with me and my wife, and I know you guys got to get this too. So what's it like working as a husband and wife couple? And kind of tell me about your different roles in it, because there are some unique giftings I know Judy brings to the table, and Keith, that you do, that together they really complement one another.
What's it like working with him? No, I mean, he's great to work with.
I said be honest.
We actually work pretty well together. Of course, we have our designated roles, and we kind of stay in our lanes for the most part, I guess. But it works for us. I mean, of course, there are days when he gets on my nerves or he says something that makes me upset or, whatever. And I'm sure I do the same.
Yeah.
But,
you know, me and my wife fire each other on a regular basis. We just don't accept each other's resignation. So.
or you do, but then you hire him back immediately.
Yeah, we always joke around and say, "You're fired," but of course, we're stuck together.
So funny story about that. One year, our tax guy called us up, and he was like, "I need to talk to the CEO of the company," and I was like, "Speaking," and he was like, "No, I need to talk to the boss," and I was like, "Yeah, my name is on the team. Like, that's me." He was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Get your formation docs out." And we looked, and Judy would end up with being filed as the CEO with the IRS because I had no idea what I was doing. When I think like when we walked into the place where we filled out the application, like I just put her name first, and I didn't realize like I was putting her in the CEO role. So she lords that over me all the time. But
well, we know who the CEO in the marriage is, so
yeah, she's the next. So I will say that Judy pulls triple duty all the time because when I'm getting up and have the, I pat myself on the back because I have 45,000 things rolling through my head about, the 15, 20 deals that we may have been working, and they're all at different places and they all have different needs and they all have different requests and then personality issues and and like I have to keep all that straight in my head, and that's on me to do. Meanwhile, Judy's doing that plus scheduling kids for volleyball and trumpet lessons and piano lessons and coding lessons and lacrosse lessons and track lessons and track classes and meets and all these other things and games and getting groceries. Yeah, and getting groceries and paying the bills because Judy does the bills, and it's just better that way. Trust me. And so. So it's, it's like, so a lot of the business falls on me, and Judy manages a blend of the household and the business. But it is, I don't know if while Judy does, she's being very gracious. I am a pill and I can be a pain, but I will say that nobody is easier to work with than Judy. And I don't know of many couples that who could co-parent, who could be married, who could work together all the time and be around each other all the time. But I tell Judy all the time that even after all that, like my favorite thing is laying down next to her at the end of the day and going to sleep next to my wife. Like I just can't get enough of her. So it's so for me, I couldn't imagine any other way. It's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, he just practiced that Valentine's speech for you.
Valentine's gone, baby. It's every day. That's what I'm saying.
I'm joking. Honestly, I mean, that's the same thing with Joy and I. She's not just my business partner and my wife. She's my best friend, and I couldn't imagine life without her. So I get that. It takes two. It really does. And in the parenting thing is. I mean, that's the most humbling thing. You guys have 3, we have 5. I will tell you that is humbling, and it's a big to have a business and be successful. It's a massive undertaking, right? Yeah. And I think about the commercials that some of your daughters have done, and some of the other things like in the book thing, and don't take away from yourself, Keith. I see you out there doing what fathers should do, and take their daughters on dates and show them how a man's supposed to treat a young lady, and that's important. So that's one of the things that I love about you two, that my wife and I try to do too, is we try to mirror the character we want our children to be, right? And those values that we instill go far beyond the 18 years that the Lord allows us to have them in our lives. And so what you guys are doing, I think, is amazing. And of course, there's nothing like a mother's heart in that. So yeah, props to you, Judy. And same thing to Joy. But you know what? There's some other unique things that I think I would love for you to tell us about, Judy, because you have some things that you do in the design aspect of things. And that's why I was joking earlier. You like the Austin fixer-uppers, right? Because you guys do marketing. So share with them.
Austin fixer-upper without their bank account.
Yeah. Poor Austin fixer-uppers. No, I have a love for design, and I started a design company a few years ago, I guess. And so I mean, that's one of the giftings that God has given me, and so I try to bring that to our business and help our clients best prep for their home, whether it's repainting. I wish we could show them that video that we just like befores and afters are so fun to see, just how, your ideas come to fruition for clients, and, selecting tiles or flooring choices or whatever it may be. I try to, or even if they're doing like a new build, going to the design center and helping them make selections so that the home can be the best that it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a client. I don't want take too much time on one particular question, but we had a client that Judy helped, and it's kind of a long story long. They had Judy. They went to the design center. She went with them, picked all the selections. It looked immaculate. Well, then the COVID started, and he ended up getting cold feet. A lot of it had to do with some work scenarios, and he was just concerned about the market. And I said, man, hang in there. It's fine. We're 6 weeks from closing. You're not going to regret it. Trust me, the market is strong. It's going to stay strong. I get it's a big decision. Well, he ended up pulling the eject cord and bailing out of it. And they ended up taking that house and putting it back on the market for $150,000 more. And other comps were not selling anywhere near that. And a lot of that had to do with Judy's selections in the house. So what you put in your home makes a big difference on what you get out of your home. And you got to have a cohesive, steady like continuum of thought when you're designing the interior of a home. And when you're designing it to live in it versus to sell it are two different things entirely. And that's what Judy specializes in. She's really able to take it up another notch and really kind of maximize value when it's time to sell.
Yeah.
Also just encouraging people. Like we just had a client that her home got an exterior paint job and I suggested these colors, and then she kind of pushed back a little bit and was like, you don't think we should do navy blue? And I was like, no, you're selling the house. Focus.
Yeah.
So just keeping people, aware of that, I guess, and reminding them, along the process, or, wherever they are in the process, this is, going to be sold. Or if you are trying to live in it, let's keep resale in mind as well, unless you want to like renovate everything later.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, right? I can tell you the number of times that we've put our home for listing with you, Keith. And, as a soldier, I was like, who cares about this and that, but you and my wife pushed me, and rightfully so. And I remember our last house in Austin that we sold, we weren't even intending to entertain offers when we put it on the market that I think Thursday evening. And we were going to have the open house over the weekend and then take in all the offers by Monday. But within 48 hours, we had multiple offers above list. And we couldn't just, why do an open house? We got what we want, right? And it's all thanks to you telling us, okay, look, I get it. You like this. I get the emotional attached to this and so forth. But we need to make it so people can envision themselves in this home. And that's a massive thing and a great advice for those who are trying to sell, because it, like you said, it's different between selling and living in something when you do it. And people always say where you make the money is in the kitchen and the bathroom, and that's true, in a lot of ways. But there are other things. I had a client insist that he wanted to put that epoxy stuff in the garage floor, and I'm going, okay, you're going to spend $3,000. And people are going to take very little time to even care about. Think about that. Well, that money is better spent painting the house.
Yeah.
And
then when they go to declutter, everything is going to go on top of that garage floor. No one's going to see it anyways.
Exactly. So that's great advice, and I'm glad that you shared that. One other thing I just thought about, you guys were joking, the poor fixer-uppers without the bank account. I think this is an opportunity for us to do this again in the future, to where we can give maybe video shots and things that you've done the before and after that I think our audience would love to see, because you guys have done amazing work. And I think as people see that, we don't have to have HDTV contracts to be able to help people see the value in it. And, so that's an idea that I think maybe in the future we could maybe look at. Going forward, I wanted to talk a little bit further about the husband and wife thing, just a little bit more pressing, a little more juice. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, there's the good days, the bad days. You're always together. You get on each other's nerves. You do great together, et cetera, et cetera. But I think out there, particularly for other professionals in the real estate business, they always think about, what about that work-life balance? And part of me wants to say that's a myth, right? But not because it can't happen, but because it's what you make it happen and how you are very efficient in your time so that you can do both and do it well. So I want you guys to share a little bit about how like a typical day might look like for you guys, and how you balance between, okay, the clients, the kids' activities, etc. Just kind of give a picture of how you care about, your life, but still take care of your business well.
Well, the beauty of real estate is that it's flexible. I mean, you're working from home pretty much, of course you're going to have to go out and meet clients and go to their homes and walk through and all that stuff. But for the most part, you work from home. So it allows for that flexibility. So our typical day, we wake up in the morning. Sometimes he wakes up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. I'm not awake at 4:30 a.m. 6 o'clock is hard enough for me. But, the other days he'll wake up at 6 o'clock as well. And we just get running, get the kids out the door to where, one of our daughters has track in the morning. So she's got to get there by a certain time in the morning. And then, and they're all in different schools. One's in elementary, one's in middle school, one's in high school. So their departure time is staggered throughout the morning. So we're getting each one out the door until the last one leaves. And then we'll try to, I'll eat breakfast sometimes. He is not eating breakfast at the moment, but we'll, read the Bible. We'll sit down, have some coffee for a little bit, eat, then try to get like a little quick workout in, and then we just get ready for the day. And then we also have a couple of VAs, so they, we're communicating with them first thing in the morning.
VAs are virtual assistants for our
virtual assistants. Yes, so we're communicating with them first thing in the morning about their duties for the day. And then, Keith and I will either do meetings like this, or we'll go and film some stuff for our YouTube channel, or we'll be meeting with clients or, friends or whatever, just constantly keeping ourselves busy and the momentum going with work and clients. And the days are really long. I mean, it's taken, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if we were recording or not, but Keith started this business a long time ago, which is why it's the Keith Duble Team and not Keith and Judy. And we just kept the name. And so there wasn't really any work-life balance at first. It was just work.
You keep going. I'm gonna get the dog. Excuse me 1 second, Paul. My dog is tripping. 1 second.
So yeah, it was just, and I was, home with the kids, taking care of the children when they were younger and babies and very needy. So it was just me having to be okay with him working all the time. And back when we started the company, we were broke. And so he was working, real estate and multiple other jobs. So he was gone all the time too. And it was just having to single mom in, I guess, kind of me having to just take care of the kids while he went and made money for our family. And so, finally, eventually, now it's been 13 years, we're at the point where he can kind of turn his phone off a little bit at a time. He's still his wheels are always turning. And he's always working and loves working. But he tries to go and, take care of things with the kids and go to track meets or help out at church or, do different things other than work. So,
Yeah. And I think too, as time progresses and you hone your craft a little bit better, you become a little bit more efficient in the
time. And you also learn what works for you and your family, and you kind of set boundaries a little bit better as you get into it. But it takes a long time to get there, I think, unless somebody awesome is telling you this is exactly how you do it from the get-go. And we didn't have that. So it was just sucking it up and, dealing with, 80, 90 hour work weeks, I guess.
Yeah. And I heard everything Judy said. I was just around the wall here. But one of the things that I would say is there's two really important kind of disciplines that I've tried to, let me start by saying this doesn't work unless you have an understanding support network. If you don't have a network of support, like Judy gets that there are a lot of days when I'm going to have my phone at the dinner table because there's important things. Everybody who texts you, they're all important. Like there are times when texts are less important, but for the most part, you're either waiting on, everything has a deadline attached to it. So they're all very important text messages and they have to be sent. So if you don't have that understanding from the get-go, when you have a spouse or a significant other, then it becomes very difficult very fast to have a life because, there needs to be a lot of room for work because we chose this life. We chose this job. This job it's very hard to get free from. And you have to be okay with that. I'm wired to be okay with that because when I am free, it's when I want to be free, right? Like after this, Judy and I are going to go on a picnic and just have an afternoon picnic together. So I bought this cool bag and it's got everything built into it. It zips open. It has a blanket and wine glasses and plates. And we're just going to go pack some food and go into our park in our neighborhood and go have a picnic. And so like nobody can do that, if you work a 40-hour standard work week, right? So like I will trade some of that. So you need to have a supportive network that is like, that's cool. But I also need to be aware of like the eyeballs so that when I need to put my phone down, like I recognize that and I put my phone down or we're not married anymore. So there's that tightrope. So understanding network. And then the second thing is like in my power, if I can end the phone calls and text messages, and the same thing for Judy, if she can end the phone calls and the text messages before she comes into the house from being gone, then that's what I tried to do. Like I'm reading the landscape and I'm like, hey, I've got 2 or 3 things I can wrap up via text or phone call. Let me just do that, sit in my car in the driveway for 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes and, make it very intentional phone call that I start off by saying, hey, I'm walking into a meeting. I only have a second, but I wanted to address this really quickly. What are your thoughts, with a client? So it doesn't become a 20-minute conversation. And then I go inside and then I can focus on my wife and kids and they appreciate that. And then when I'm home, Judy, if she can do that and come inside, like I appreciate that too. Right. And it's just, it's like everything that we can do to steal time back because this job will take your life away from you if you let it. So And then the last thing I would say just briefly is leveraging. We just hired a new person on our team who is now taking over a ton of my business. And I'm paying her per transaction. And she is taking a whole bunch of stuff off my plate so that I can focus on the lead generating, the phone calls, the video, planning videos, working with our VAs and all of those things. So.
But just to add to that, I mean, it's taken a long time to get here, 13 years in, and not that we've arrived by any means. We have a long way to go, but not everybody is in the place where they can afford to hire somebody or pay somebody a part of their commission. So if you're new to the industry, just know that you're going to have to grind, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be a lot of hours if you want to be successful. And if this is really what you want to do in the long run, and you want it to be more than just a little part-time thing, it takes a lot. So just throwing that out there as well.
That is true.
A lot of sacrifice. You just have to be okay with working really, really hard.
There's three things you guys said that I thought was very important. And I love the fact that, Judy, you mentioned the word grind after talking about it. Because one of the things I hate to hear is people are successful and you get all the people in the room, they say, just grind it out. Well, what the heck does that mean? All right. What does that look like? Right. But you guys kind of gave us a roadmap of what that looks like. I think having that support network is very key. I think that it goes, of course, husband, wife, right? But who you work with matters, right? When you got title companies, insurance companies, you got lenders that you can count on to do things and make your job easier. That matters, and that helps support what you're trying to accomplish. Unlike you guys, I haven't been in the business for 13 years, and we're a little over 3 years. And one of the things I would say to add to what you're saying, learn from other people. Like I learned from you, Keith. I've learned from your previous lender and what things were good and what things weren't good, right? And you take the good and you throw out the bad, right? And then you build upon that. But I think one thing that you said that really perked my ears, and I think this is important for our audience to hear, something that we've discovered real quickly, what's made a world of difference for us. Having a coach that'll not only keep you accountable, but it'll tell you how to accomplish these things makes a massive difference. Because, my wife and I, we do the same things. We get the kids out the door. We go to school together. We go together to get them to school. We do all these things, but our bulk of our workday happens between 8:30 and 3. That's a short workday, right? Mm-hmm. But we've learned how to make that time way more efficient. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't get up, like Joy or I'll get up real early and handle some things beforehand, or I'm up Sunday night prepping for the week, or we do other things after the kids go to bed. But having healthy boundaries, like you're saying, like putting down that phone when it doesn't need to be done is important, because you don't want to sacrifice your family or anything dear to your heart for success. Because at the end of the day, the why we do things matters, right? You're not doing it just to make money. Of course, we all make money, but at the end of the day, we want to take care of our families well. Hopefully, our grandkids, neither one of us are there yet, thank the Lord. Give back to our communities. I know you guys do a lot of that stuff. That's one of the things that we're trying to do a lot this year. Give back to the community. I know you guys have things like I can't think of the organization where you guys help build homes. What's it called?
New Story.
That's it. That's incredible, right? This year we're trying to help build tiny homes for a pregnancy care center. That's massive, and I think when people see their local realtor, their local lender, their local whatever business person caring about their community, it creates something special. and people want to work with you. So I thank you for sharing all that. That's real important. Let me give you the last question here that I think real important. So what would you say to someone who's looking for an amazing experience with the team who will serve their home ownership needs? This is your chance to
So a plug. What would you say, Eddie?
Okay, what would I say to someone who's looking to finish that for me, Paul?
Have an amazing experience with a team that will serve their home ownership needs.
Their home ownership needs?
Yeah, because I'll give you an example.
Okay.
You and Judy, to me, are the whole package. Of course, none of us are perfect, but you're the whole package. You do everything to help them. So why would I, as a potential home buyer, want to come work with you guys? Share with me what that looks like, how you can help them.
Well, there's a few different, I guess, aspects, and I can briefly unpack some of that. But the first is just the wide variety of experience that we bring to the table. We have failed every possible way you can imagine, and we've succeeded in a lot of ways too. We started off this business buying foreclosures on the county courthouse steps and fixing them up and selling them, and that was a disaster. But then it wasn't. And so we learned through that. Then we took all of that experience with figuring out how to put the least amount of money into improving a home to get the max amount of value. And I maybe think that speaks more to the sell side. But man, you get a really good anatomical breakdown from soup to nuts on what a house is when you're having to do all those things. So in addition to that, we started serving people on the real estate transaction side and bringing all that experience to that transactional process, that purchase process. And the second thing is just the negotiation piece, understanding that when you're after a win-win, you're after a win for everybody, and that benefits your clients so much. The approach to success comes when everybody's needs are met, and people maybe have a poor, misconstrued idea of what negotiation looks like. They think it's you go in there and just beat somebody over the head, but that has never worked in history. If you want to not succeed, that's how you do it. Matter of fact, I tell my clients, this, I would say, if anybody's listening, listen to this, because this is the most important thing I'm going to say about succeeding as a home buyer. I had an agent call me the other day. It was a multiple offer situation. And she said, Keith, your offer is $7,000 less than the other offer, but I've heard your name and I know who you are, and we're going to give you a shot. And they gave us a number that we wanted to counter back, and we did. We came up a little bit to kind of offset that massive difference between our offer and the other offer. But we executed the contract. This was 2 days ago, and that listing agent said, I know who you are and I know your name. And I'll tell you what, negotiation begins before you step your foot in the door. If someone recognizes who you are, they know you as a person, they're going to be a lot more inclined to work with you because they're not on guard. They don't feel like you're going to take advantage of them. They're excited to work with a collaborative, cooperative professional. So that is another huge piece. And we've worked for a long time to build our reputation in this community because, man, real estate is a small world. And then the last thing I would say is, along the same kind of vein of having that relational kind of reputation, we work with a lot of the same builders over and over and over again, not because we've only selected one or two, but because we do a ton of new construction. And right now, new construction is super hot. And a lot of agents are terrified, of new construction. So not only do we have a really good sense of who is producing at the highest levels, because on the resale side, you see the same names over and over again. 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. And we happen to mingle in those communities. We know all the platinum top 50 agents and the icon agents and the $1 Million Guild and all these different things. We know all the same faces over and over again. But on the new construction side, we do a ton of that business too. So when I walk in the door and Johnny's sales rep sees me at the builder and I'm bringing my client, he knows that I'm going to treat him respectfully the entire transaction. I'm looking for a win there too. And I'm going to help my client get out of their own way and explain to them, hey, listen, the sales rep may not be trying to take advantage of you. Maybe they are, but I don't think so. And they appreciate having an advocate and a realtor because it's not adversarial, it's advocacy. We're all working together to accomplish the same goal, get that buyer in a house. Now, if the buyer's rep is off the mark, then yeah, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire and we're going to get the deal done correctly. But that's usually not the case. And a buyer is better served by having an advocate versus an adversary on the other side. So we have a great reputation with new construction. We have a ton of experience. I can't even tell you. You guys do a ton of new construction with me. We have a ton of relationships that we've built up in the resale industry. We know realtors all over the place. And usually before you even go to the house, I know the agent that's listing that house if you're interested in buying, because that's the question. And so I would say that's a massive value add. The negotiation piece, the experience piece, and how we've just been able to build up a reputation in this community to really represent people and serve not just them, but all the pieces of the equation. And then I would say, like, we don't take our fiduciary obligations to our clients lightly. It's our responsibility to put their needs above our own. And if we're not doing that, we're going to be held to a standard, and we could be subject to penalties. And so. And beyond that, Paul, and you know this too, because you're the same way. When we lay our head on our pillow at night, we answer to the Lord God Almighty. And we are 100% responsible for how we treat people and how we serve people. And if I give my word to do something, I'm responsible to the Lord Jesus Christ. That is who I'm responsible to. So, I don't need an ethical standard that I've signed my name to keep me accountable. It's the Lord Jesus Christ. That's my standard. So that really is kind of the driving force behind, what helps people succeed in a big way when they allow us to serve them. We bring a lot of experience to the table. We failed a lot. We've succeeded even more. And by the grace of God, we've been able to attain a solid, reputation in our community.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, as someone who's pastored a church, that's music to my ears to hear. But even in light of everything you said, it goes right in hand with what I'm always talking about, offering more service than we're paid for. I really believe in this day and age when we have a lot of crud, just like in my hometown, another shooting took place last night. It was very sad. And that's the kind of stuff we're seeing all the time now. And we need to be ambassadors of hope in our prospective fields. And I had a special guest just arrive that I want to bring in here.
Oh, the better half.
This beauty right here is like you, Judy. It's me. And, I am very grateful for you two. And I think, whether it's the Duble team or Keith and Judy, or just keep it Keith Duble team, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you've built a brand, and it's not about a name, but you build a brand about who you are as people and how you serve and advocate for people, because this is the biggest transaction that most people ever make. And we have an opportunity to make a difference for the good.
Yeah.
So I am so grateful for you two. I think we're at a wraps right now. Scott, do you have any last thoughts or questions?
Yeah, sure. It's my pleasure. Hi, Joy. Listening and learning more about how Keith and Judy started and their contributions to the community and their professional services that they offer and how they do it. I mean, I enjoy that. And I was talking to Paul yesterday, reminding everyone that this is really a series. So we have plenty of chances to get your information out. Paul is a host, Keith, Judy are co-hosts. And this is an opportunity to really engage your local business community, because they are really the foundations of the community. They're there for generations. They pay taxes. The kids are in school. They have a lot a stake in this market. They're there, and they're the people that really could be and should be supported, and they can even be given a chance to be interviewed, or at the very least, they serve both as your audience and a chance to give them a voice, so they have a real benefit, and it creates a strong reciprocal relation. It's not all about us and our information. We really want to shine the light on others, and that to me creates a reciprocal bond that can be counted on. And the good news is we are doing this digitally, so it lasts forever, and anyone can be reached at any time. So we're happy to provide that and happy to be part of it. And I enjoy learning how other people work and letting them see how they can benefit others. So that's really the basis of the PlugIntro platform, where you gain by introducing others and allowing others the chance to gain local exposure.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Let me end with this thought here. I recently posted this and I said, let our light shine so brightly that we help others out of darkness. And that's what I know you guys are about, Keith and Judy, and that's what we're about. And I am so grateful to be able to partner with you too.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Yeah, Scott, it was nice meeting you virtually.
Yeah, we Paul and Joy have been very generous, but the reality is they have been as much, if not more, of a blessing to us that we maybe have been able to have for them. They have led the way in generosity in our lives. They've, long before either of us had dipped our toes into anything real estate related, we were battling it out in our faith and in our lives, and struggling through raising kids and, finances and all these other things, and school and working and going to Kentucky and going to seminary and all those things. And so, we've seen these guys. The Franciscos are the real deal.
They're the real deal. Yeah.
And we've seen them for decades, be able to shine the light in their personal life, in their familial life, in their faith. And it's just a testament to what God's been doing in your communities through you guys.
We love y'all.
Love you guys too. Thank you.